Good day, lords and ladies, and welcome to Vampire Survivors. This is a lovely little title that I picked up a while ago. I thought I'd do a review on it. It takes me back to my childhood. This is very much like the old school arcade games you used to play when I was young. It's basically, for those of you who don't know, Vampire Survivors is a roguelike bullet hell game, 2D. And the whole point is that you basically live as long as you can, and try and get the highest score, which is basically gold, which you collect, which you use to unlock power-ups, so you last even longer. It has a very sort of small or short play cycle or gameplay cycle, but it's very addictive and it's very fun. So let's have a look at what we've got here. We have so far, I will say the game is in early access, so it's still being developed. But so far, we have a lot of stuff that's been added. I've unlocked a good amount of things. Not everything, I'm not going to lie, but there's still a lot to be unlocked. We also have achievements, which basically give you rewards for unlocking them, which is always very nice. And there's a whole long list of them. It's very much one of those games which keeps you very much engaged by trying to complete goals, which is always very, very good in my book. I won't go into too much of these too much because basically it will spoil it for the players. This game, I believe, is a couple of pounds on Steam. I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys to locate it. You also have power-ups, which are basically the way that you improve your character. Each of them add stats, and you unlock and purchase more. For example, we can go here. We can purchase this particular power-up, which basically allows us to, once per level up, remove an item from the level up choices, which means that we can prune what magical gear we get handed to us in the selection process, which is always very nice. So, with all that said and done, is there anything else that we want to purchase while we're here? I don't think I can purchase anything, maybe besides some damage reduction. Do I want to pick up damage reduction over anything else? Let's see. I was saving up to get growth, so maybe that should be the thing that we aim for, to pick up growth, the first level of growth. So, let's start a game, shall we? These are the characters that you can pick. I've unlocked most of them, except for this gentleman here who came in the latest expansion, or the latest update, I should say. So let's grab him to unlock. Cost us a bit. Bianca Ramba. So basically her ability is this. Each character comes with its own ability. For example, Bianca gets more projectiles every 20 levels, which, it's not great. My personal preference is I do like Gennaro. He's a bit harder to play, but he's pretty fun. Let's go and play. I want a character that's good to show off. All of them have their own very different traits. So let's go with Gennaro. You can see here on the side these stats. Where it's golden or yellow. You can see the effects of the upgrade we have picked up affecting those stats. For example, we've got banished and skipped, which are abilities we picked up. All these kind of abilities. Magnet allows you to attract items and resources that are lying on the floor. Greed gives you more gold. Luck gives you a better chance of getting good results. These are all in play because of what we've picked. So let's take his character. We'll pick Gennaro. And now we have to pick a stage. Now, this game is still in constant development, so new stuff is being added. I haven't unlocked everything. For example, I haven't unlocked a new area that was added in the latest update. So let's pick one where we can show off our stuff. Let's go Inlaid Library. This quiet, long library is an ideal place where to rest, meditate, and forage for roast chicken. But what's a stone mask doing here? Basically, this is very much in the flavour of those old school, like arcadey, like it used to be sort of like 20 pence slot machines or whatever you want to call them, where you basically the maps were very sort of open or generic in some ways, and you basically had to just play them. You'll see what I mean when we get to it. And I'm going to play it not on hyper mode, which will increase various things. I just want to show off the gameplay. because when movement speed increases, we get more gold, get more stuff, but it's more fast-paced. Let's go with a hyper mode, so you can see the hyper mode. We'll go with the library, and this is the game. As you can see, I have no control over how to attack. This is all done automatically, very old school sort of console command. Now, I have picked up the gems you see dropping on the floor, as you can see in the background, the blue, green and red are experience gems. Picking those up will give you experience, which goes into getting a level up. Now, as you can see here, Banish, which is the ability we've just picked up, allows us to permanently remove something from the roster. Skip allows us to skip over this level without picking anything up. I think I will pick up something like Rune Tracker, which will every so often release a missile, as you can see there. The reason I picked it up is that with the character we're currently playing, it gives us an additional missile because of ability, which allows us to pick up another item. So, what do we want? Laurel, Fire Wand, King Bible. King Bible is very useful as sort of like a general room clearing ability. Like if the enemy's getting close, it pops out an attack, as you can see there, which basically circles you in a protective aura, or a protective manner, and basically destroys a lot of things. Picked up another ability. Let's pick up braces. Increases projectile speed, which means that they will move around quicker. Not so important for us for some of our weapon combinations, but for some other ones it can be very powerful, especially for defensive. Now, we are losing health. We have a red health bar below our character, which is being depleted. Now, what we're going to pick up some nice stuff here. I'm a fan, actually. I know that some people say that the whip in this game is a bit sort of, because the whip basically only goes horizontally with a little bit of arc over the top of it of your character, but I found that if you really upgrade the whip, it becomes really powerful. I will pick up the next level of Rune Tracker just because of the map we're on. The Rune Tracker bounces a lot, which is fantastic for basically taking out large groups, especially later on in the game where it gets really hectic. Now, I'm trying to farm up experience early on because this game, it's very easy in this game to kill like tens of thousands of enemies, and that's not an over-exaggeration. On my point, it is very, very easy to have so many enemies on the screen that you physically can't see the background floor tiles. This is a very old-school sort of horde, bullet hell kind of game. Now, I'm sticking relatively within a small area. If we wanted to, for example, if you open up the map here by going to exit, you can see this stuff. This is an ability I picked up later on in the game. It shows you where items in the game world are. So it's telling us that if we keep on going to the left, there is an item we can pick up. Let's grab this chicken, which will heal us up. This game is also very tongue-in-cheek. It knows full well what its sort of legacy is, so it doesn't try and take itself too seriously. That ability you've just seen me pick up is a dropped item. It allows you to stop time. Very sort of classic retro arcade style kind of game. But now you can see the enemies are really starting to move in with the amount of things on the screen. I had hoped we'd be able to get... There's a very particular level up that I like to have. We haven't got it, unfortunately, yet. It's considered to be one of the ones that I think is a really... If you're playing on hyper mode, it's an ability... Well, it's an artifact you pick up, which is very powerful if you can get it. Man, we took a chunk of damage going through there. I still don't have as much damage output as I would like, to be honest. Once you've played this game for a while, you can very quickly figure out how well your build is going. So, there we go. I'll pick up another braces. I'm trying to, as you can see, beneath each item there's a tick. That is basically an indication of how many levels have been put into the item. Items have a degree of upgrading to them. The more you put into them, the better they become. There is a hard cap, and things happen in the game once you actually unlock all of an item level's evolutions, as it were. I'm just trying to get the item to show you guys off, which is where it is on the map. Come on. It should be around here somewhere. We're still a ways off. Okay. I'd rather not die, to be honest, but I want to kill this elite boss because he might have a good item. We did level up, so we can get a knife for another projectile, which is always good damage-wise. But I'm going to pick up weapon duplication, which will basically give us a duplication on all our attack items. Camel. Yeah, we're not doing as much damage output as I wanted, unfortunately. And that we took him out, which is excellent because we got a treasure chest. Treasure chests drop from basically elite and higher enemies. You can normally tell an elite enemy and above from their size, or they have a particular aura around them in some cases. So so we've got another projectile, which is fantastic. We got another one of our rune tracers. We've also got 164 gold. Chests are the main way in the game for you to get gold, which is your upgradable resource. You use it. It's basically your currency that you use to basically upgrade everything. So it's trying to get some more experience. Because as much as I want to pick up the item in question, I also need to farm experience, unfortunately. Okay, there we go. So let's grab another level of knife. But yes, items do have a final form as well. Once you get them to a high enough level, and they are fully maxed out, and you still have an opened item slot in my experience, you can basically find an enhanced version. Also, on most maps, there will be an item like lying around for you to get, like for example, the stone mask on this map, which was hinted at in the description, which will give us a bonus amount of gold dropped, which is always very nice. Okay. I'm going to grab another level of the rune tracer, give us more rune tracers, which will help thin the horde of enemies that's popping up, because it has a lot of penetration, and on this map, where it can bounce around a lot, it's very useful. I will pick up another level of little knife, which is very nice, because that's my standard attack for this character, and it is very useful. And as you can see, the enemies are really starting to put it on with the amount of attacks they have, which is why I went for that. Bible attack item, which gives us basically a circular protective aura. Now you have levels of chests. Unfortunately, I keep on getting the relatively low level of chest, which isn't great, but we can do something with it. We still get money from it, from upgrades. Okay. None of these are particularly great. I am going to banish the stun lance, because it's not a combination I like with my current build, and I want to try and get some other things to drop. Okay, so let's go with another projectile. Ooh, this is a nice item. This kills everything on the screen, which is very useful for clearing monsters. Get this upgraded. Get that upgrade. Now we're really cooking with fire. We're getting a lot of items dropping, a lot of experience crystals which we're harvesting. I do have a slight passive regen from an earlier upgrade, which is sort of giving us slow health regen, so I'm not as worried as I would be in the base game for finding healing items. But you can notice now the enemies are getting harder. We've already killed more than 2,500 of them. And this is an indication for the game. This game can have a lot of enemies on screen. And as you can see here, this tells you what item it needs to evolve. When you have a new item, it can basically, sometimes they added this in an update. They basically told you what items evolve into its higher form, which is very nice. I will grab the final level of knife, which means that if we are fortunate, you'll get the evolved level of the knife, which will drop in the game. Now, I know that some people have said that this character isn't the strongest character, which is true in some regards. He's very much one of those characters that once you get a good combination going with him, he becomes very powerful. But the base guy, his base starting setup is very nasty. You have to be careful of those banshees. They explode on contact, which is very frustrating. Right. Now we're in a bit of a lull where the game is not throwing a lot of things at us, which in some ways is good, in some ways isn't. We need to have as much experience coming as soon as possible to allow us to basically level up. There is a good chunk of money over here. Not a lot, but enough that I can collect and help us on the way for our next level upgrade. This is a game that has a lot of replayability. I like it a lot. You don't get a lot of these old school arcadey like bullet hell games anymore, where you don't have any control over what is being fired, you just have a control over the movement, which is nice. It's one of those games that you can sit back, play for like 20 minutes and have a really good time and not have to worry about remembering plot or remembering story. You can just have fun being this character that runs around killing hundreds and thousands of enemies on screen. Right. I do need, though, at this point to basically clean up and get some more experience. Okay, so we finally leveled up the last level of the Rune Tracer ability. Hopefully we can get some stuff together to basically make it work in a higher form. Because as you can see, a lot more enemies are starting to turn up now. I'm going to try and focus down this elite enemy, as you can tell by the size, because I want to try and get an item drop out of him. Another common chest. Unfortunate. It's a Bible upgrade, not too bad. Out of all the things that could have dropped a Bible upgrade, it's still a relatively useful upgrade. I should also say, elite enemies drop rarer gems, which give you more experience. Okay, so we've upgraded the braces all the way. I can't remember if the braces work in combination. There's some combinations I'm not familiar with. I can never remember off my top of my head what all the combinations are. Okay. Yeah, let's grab another Holy Bible upgrade. The Holy Bible is giving us a lot of utility and just general protection because we are a very directional attacker. Our main attacks either go in one direction or they're random and we have no control over the direction they go at all, which is just something that we have to be aware of. They're very good at clearing and out enemies, as you can see, but at the same time there is a limit. Duplication. We'll get duplication leveled up and hopefully that will give us a chance to get a item evolution into its next phase. Okay. Now, those item evolutions, you never get them here, you only ever get them in item drops, so be aware of that fact. Yeah, we've got enough XP to get double upgrade. Do I want to start getting... Yeah, it evolves with the Bible. Spell being binder. That could be something we could do. But as you can see, later on, you get a lot of powerful combinations. Garlic is a very good item. That was one of the ones I was looking for. It gives you basically a protective aura which does damage to enemies who wander into it. Greater in late game, where you have so many enemies on screen that it's hard to stop them from getting close. I should also warn those, for those of you who have, at this point, you probably already know, but for those of you who have light sensitivity, flattening light sensitivity, anything like that, be aware that this game has a lot of, like, photosensitive. If you're photosensitive, be aware that this game has this issue. I should have mentioned it sooner. It does warn you at the start of the game. This item allows you to collect all the experience crystals lying on the map, which is very powerful. It will give us a nice big experience boost. So let's grab the last level of the Bible. No item. evolution yet, probably because we haven't seen any bosses recently, which is annoying. Okay, get the next level of evolution on that. As you can see, we're now really playing Cooking with Fire. We're just ploughing through the enemies, but the enemies, like, this isn't even how bad it can become in this game. They can become so bad that you can literally not see the floor. But there is an elite enemy there, so let's try and kill him and get an item evolution. There we go. There's an item evolution right there. Unholy Vespers item evolved. Basically, it's the evolution of the Bible, which will basically turn into something a bit different. Let's grab another Spellbinder. As you can see, the Bible is now changed to a permanent item, which is very nice. And it will constantly circle us, giving us this protective field, which is very, very nice. Evolved items are very powerful. Then they normally do a ton more damage. Each of them is very unique. Let's stop time for a second and just let us clear up these enemies here. Grab another roast chicken. That is a very famous reference to a very I think it's like Streets of Rage, where basically you basically broke open containers and crates for chicken, and the joke was that you ate ground chicken to get your HP back. Let's grab another garlic upgrade to give us another defensive boost. Increase it, also a lot of items play into each other, so having an item which increases aura will affect multiple attack items, as you can see here on the screen. Okay. Yeah, let's grab the Spellbinder up again. I just really want to show this game off. The thing is that the enemy waves haven't got ludicrous yet. I know this seems like, oh, there's a lot of enemies on screen. No. I want to get to the point in the game where you literally see just how obscene this game throws stuff at you. Okay, let's grab Spellbinder again for the final level of it. So far we've got a pretty viable build, if I'm being honest. We've got a lot of ways of decreasing the horde, as I would call it. In this game there are two types of enemies. There are horde enemies and there are elite enemies like this one. Elite enemies are basically massive damage sponges and do a lot of damage, but they are also where the best items and, well, your resources for upgrading after a run are located. And here we go. This is the evolved form of the knife. The evolved form of the knife is very good. Fires without delay. So there's now no pauses in our attacks. I will get, let's see, the candelabra for affecting our basically attack area, increase our attack zone. But now with the evolved knife, as you can see, it basically just doesn't stop firing, which is really powerful, especially for burning down tough elite enemies who have a lot of health, and they will start turning up. This is the thing about this game, the enemies constantly keep scaling as time passes, so eventually you've got to start running into foes where even with your fully upgraded abilities, you cannot beat them. They will basically just overwhelm you through sheer sort of durability if you haven't leveled your gear up. So you need to basically work on those upgrades, work on those combos, make it so that the elite enemies get chewed down quickly, rather than being able to survive through whatever combinations you have. So let's get some more experience. At this point, I'm not harvesting a ton of experience from the basic crystals. I could have invested in a couple of items which gave us increased XP gain, which I might have sort of done. You can also hold a fair amount of items up here, as you can see at the top. Let's see what we get from this. Another garlic. I believe you can hold 12 items if my memory recalls correctly. So let's see. Our aura is increased again, which is always very nice. Okay. Let's just keep harvesting. So what do we want to get now? More gold would be nice for allow us to have rapid level ups. Amount of damage we could do would be very nice as well. Actually, no, it is just 10. I keep on forgetting. These slots here don't open up. So we've got one item slot left open we can pick up. I'm going to pick up for the increased weapon damage. 10% weapon damage increase is pretty nice. There are a couple ways you can basically resign from a run if we wanted to. We could go to here and say options and we could quit, which would basically boot us out of the run. We could also just straight up die. It's not too hard to do. Right, so let's see. Yeah, we're going to grab... See, look, it's expanded here. Maybe it is 12. I can't remember off the top of my head. No, it is 12. You can see here at the slots. What am I talking about? I was confused because the menu in-game basically threw me. Okay. Hopefully, yeah. As you can see now we're starting to get the big waves. There's several points in the game where this game will basically go, okay, you've reached this benchmark, it's time for you to be taken more seriously, and it will start sending just like waves of enemies at you, like these massive, huge hordes of enemies which will have elite troops hidden in them, like you can see here. I'm trying to get another chest type to show it off, but this is the basic one. There's one that has 1 item pick, 3 item pick, and 5 item pick, which can be really powerful to get. Okay, we've got another load of gold, which is really nice. Let's see, let's try and get, the mask upgrade, get us a bit more money from elite enemies. And then we'll pick up another mask upgrade. At this point, I'm just funneling it to get as much XP as I can. Okay, more money. I want to try and get as much gold as you can. When you have a really powerful run like this, farming for the upgradable resource, your coin, your currency, is really useful. Right, so let's get this done. Put to bed. Get that upgraded again. Large area of effect. The bigger your area of effect, the less likely it is for enemies to reach you, especially late game. Now, we're getting close to the end of how long I like to have these review videos to do, but I think I am going to run a bit longer than normal, just because I want to try and show off like the late wave content, which is very, very impressive. Like, at the moment, we have very few enemies on the screen, which is fine. I mean, see, now we're starting to get the big hitters turning up. We're starting to get like the Medusas, these really elite, powerful characters that will drop item boxes, they'll drop good equipment, or in some cases unique level weaponry which you can only get on that map. So she's dead. Another common chest. We haven't been great with our chest drops, unfortunately. Okay, another candelabra. Not the end of the day. It is still a useful pick, if nothing else. There are multiple items that drop out of chandeliers, like... So what would we get here? We can always just skip. Let's grab the lightning ring. The lightning ring just randomly fires lightning bolts. It's a good item if you can get it evolved, because then it just does so many lightning bolts. Inside, there will basically be an object type on each map, which will basically give you a certain amount, well, it will give you basically a certain kind of item droppage out of it. It will be like chickens, gold coins, money bags which contain multiple gold coins, things that stop time, things that delete enemies. Think of it like a power-up, basically. Okay, multiple upgrades now. So just grabbing multiple level-ups. Got another level in the garlic aura. Okay, here we go. These are more elite enemies. You can always tell because elite enemies and above start to drop green experience crystals. Okay, all these are very nice. I'm going to focus down getting my getting my abilities leveled up at this stage. Having new items is nice and all, but I'd rather just get my abilities that I have powered up. Okay, get the chicken to power up. Well, get the chicken to basically heal ourselves. Let's just keep farming. This is a very powerful build we have going right now, so I'm trying to use it as much as I can. Another common chest. Unfortunately, we keep on hitting a lot of common chests. Okay, so we got the final upgrade for the mask, which is nice. Right. I should also warn you as well, in my experience, there's a hard limit set on the level you can get to each level. I think it's like 96 or something in that regard, where basically an end of level boss turns up and insta-kills you. So, but it's actually fairly hard to get to an end of the level unless you've played for a while and have got a good amount of upgrades. Here you can see here, this is a money bag. It gives you a good a certain amount of coins. Okay, another level up. We'll pick up another lightning ring. As you can see, the enemies are getting more and more plentiful. They're getting a higher level as well, which are giving us more experience crystals. But this is very, very, very soon going to change. Once we hit a certain point in the game, the enemies will just swarm us with a large amount of elite troops. And this will be the test of your build. It will be the test, does my character manage to survive this wave of attrition that's being sent at us? Okay. Let's just keep going. It's one of those really addictive games I find, you just can't stop playing it. Let's just clear up these people. Get another experience crystal. Keep increasing the rings. If my memory serves me correctly, you can only have ever 3 upgraded items. So if you're thinking, oh, we can just upgrade everything that we have, I don't think the game allows that. I think the developers took into account that strategy and have made it so there's a hard lock on how many evolved items you can have at once. I should also say the developers are very, very good at constant updates, which is great considering that this game was basically something they made that they're selling for like a couple of pounds, and it's well worth the money if you ask me. It's highly, highly addictive, highly, highly replayable. Just if you just have spare 20 minutes or whatever, you can just chug it out a round or two. And we got the lightning ring evolved. Fantastic. So now we have a pretty powerful set of abilities unlocked. The evolved lightning ring basically does lightning, but then it leaves areas highlighted, which then get a set follow-up strike, which is very powerful late game against massive horde enemies, where you can literally just fry the unending waves of foes which come. Look here, we've already killed 22,000 foes on the map, and they haven't even stopped yet. What do we want to grab? The sealed is nice. Having a protective bubble which would take hits for you and act like temporary HP is always very, very good to see. Unfortunately, I think we're out of time now, folks. As much as I want to continue playing this and show it off to you, I am going to call the video here. This has been Vampire Survivors. If you have liked, please press the like button. If you were subscribed, please press the subscribe button. I'll leave a link for the game down below. I strongly recommend this game. It is a ton of fun. And that will be all. I shall see you all again next time. Goodbye, folks.